Russia and China have held talks on a trade agreement for their border zone in the Far East. It follows a demarcation treaty with Moscow handing back several islands after 40 years of territorial disputes. Despite some public protests, the move has had big benefits for mutual relations, as RT's Maria Fanoshina found out.
This half-Russian, half-Chinese island is just 100 kilometers from the city of Khabarovsk, but getting there is no easy task.
5 months of the year, a floating bridge connects the islands with the mainland. But when winter comes, they remove it so it doesn't get damaged by ice. People then have to take this ferry, but it runs only twice a day and only until the first ice covers the river. For months, the people living on the opposite bank are literally cut off from the outside world.
A 400-year-old border dispute between Russia and its eastern neighbor has ended with this 340 square kilometer piece of land being officially placed under the Chinese flag. This divided island has two names as well. The Russian half is called Ussuriysky, the Chinese one is now known as the Island of the Black Bear, though there is not many bears to be seen. There is not a lot of anything to see. We've traveled the length and breadth of the Russian part, but found few signs of life. What was used to be a granary in Russia's Far East, provide neighboring areas with bread, milk and meat, now appears absolutely desolate, with abandoned farms and neglected fields stretching for kilometers. Official sources say about 500 people live here. Though on first sight, that seems an exaggeration.
I go to the school over there. We have 5 or 6 children in our class. Half of my friends left the island with their families. Of course I miss them.
The island used to be part of an intensively fortified border area, but the military men left as soon as the deal with China was signed 4 years ago. Since then, scenes like this have become common.
Soldiers with their families left a long time ago. They left their apartments, so many people need places to live, but it's rather hard to raise it, isn't it? And so entire apartment buildings stay abandoned.
Territorial arguments between the countries date back to periods of expansion by both Tsarist Russia and Imperial China. In the early 20th century, the socialist neighbors ignored the issue. But when Russian-Chinese relations hit rock bottom in the 1960s, Beijing insisted on reviewing previous treaties. In 1964, negotiations failed due to political changes in the USSR. Bloody clashes between Soviet and Chinese border guards near the Mansky Island claimed dozens of lives on both sides. Not until 1991 did Mikhail Gorbachev and the Chinese President Jiang Zemin agree the border. In 2004, the negotiations were finally over, with part of the territory officially handed over to China. Khabarovsk residents seem to be unanimous in their protests against the move.
There are so many Chinese people here. There'll be even more now that the islands belong to them.
It's just a pity.
But analysts say it would not be fair to say Russia has sacrificed its disputed land. They say the move was a well-considered gambit, which would give Moscow much more than it took.
Both sides won. They set the level of mutual credibility between the countries at very high. They also guaranteed each other a safe border, which will allow both to strengthen their strategic partnership.
Advantages appeared just days after the island's future had been resolved. A long-awaited deal to build an oil pipeline from Siberia to China was signed at the end of October. The pipeline will have a capacity of 15 million tons of oil per year, a landmark agreement mutually beneficial for both energy-hungry China and the world's second-largest oil producer. With its history of conflict being swept away in the wind, the future of this small piece of land appears to be bleak. But the island's impact on the two biggest countries in the world has been immense. Maria Fanoshina, RT, reporting from the Khabarovsk region in Russia's Far East.